There's about 8 people who have asked to be part of this group. So what are your thoughts? Because we're looking at how to support you through the certification process. And I'm guessing that you would like to set up some sort of schedule to say that, everybody work through, I don't know, chapters 2 and 3 this month, and then go to chapter 4 next month or whatever. And so to give yourself a little deadline to work through the material. And I don't know if that's what you're looking for. So over to you guys. Larry, you're nodding. Do you have thoughts?
Yeah, I do need deadlines, but I'm pretty busy, so I would like a relaxed deadline if anyone else is on board with that. I mean, I think I've done a whole bunch of it, but I need to go back. I might as well start at the beginning. It was, year and a half at least ago. And I think David mentioned that he wanted to do this. Does he know? Because I would just assume maybe I get together with him. David Levitt.
He hasn't told me, but I'm very happy. So you can reach out. So yeah. I won't send him this, but you can send it on to him and ask him to let me know if he wants to be in the loop here, because I'm just going to keep a list of. So I'll put his name down with the question. I can send it to him anyway. I'll do it anyway, and then if he lets me know whether he's or you let me know whether he wants to be in on it or not. Yeah. So Kai.
Yeah. Well, I have a technical question. You sent us a copy of the course in an email. You sent a link to the copy. I haven't done any of those Thinkific questionnaires, and my idea was that I would then be going through the chapters in the book and then answer these questionnaires in order to be able to go through this copy. Because when I try to resume the course, this copy course, I have to submit the first formula as well and everything like that. So
I'll take that off. Thank you. I can take that off as a requirement.
Because I was wondering whether you would wanted to go through all this work again, and whether you wanted to check answers to the questionnaires, or whether it was just that one could do the questionnaires for one's own purpose in order to revise whatever one has read.
I do not want to go marking your questionnaires.
I would have thought that, yes, because I guess you have a lot of other things to do. And I was too stupid to really use Thinkific and at that time, and so I didn't quite understand the process. And I thought, well, I attend the meetings and everything is fine. But I think I could profit from these questionnaires, because it's always a pleasure of looking from the outside on one's own thoughts. So
that is exactly what I suggest you do, that you go through those. You read the chapter again and then go through the quiz and the questionnaire. And my aim is always that you should pretty well be able to do the quiz. The questionnaire will be harder. If you can do half of it, there's no requirement that you've got to be word perfect on every question. We are not revising for a school exam here. Let's be very clear. So what I want you to feel is that you've got a good grasp of what the chapter is really about. And the questionnaires, you may be able to answer them, or you may simply want to look at the answer and then think, okay, where did she write that? And then go back and read that bit again, because, but don't worry if you then don't remember it. Go on.
Yeah, so since I don't understand the process yet, because I haven't seen any of that, and I wasn't able to go on, would it be possible for me or anyone to kind of answer these questionnaires and all these quizzes and whatever it may be online, and then have it as a copy for one's own purpose? So I could look up what I wrote like 6 weeks ago when I go through this again. Will that be saved there, or how does that work?
The quiz doesn't work like that. The quiz is an online questionnaire. It's an online quiz with multiple choice. So you just go through it, and it doesn't give you any printout. It just tells you whether your answer was correct or incorrect. And when you get to the end, it gives you the option of retaking it's to see if you can do it again, as it were. So it's entirely a self-study thing.
Okay.
The questionnaire they're a printout. So you just print out the questions, and then you can also print out the ones which has the questions and the answers. And what I've tried to do is make sure that the questions in the questionnaires occur in the order they occur in the chapter. And I think I didn't think of that until several chapters in. So I hope that the first chapters are completely in the right order. If they're not, let me know and I'll change the order, because I want them to be, you know, in sequence so that you have some chance of finding them. So, you know, the questionnaires really are seen as revision aids and understanding aids. Go on.
The chapters aren't that long. One could work through the chapter and kind of understand it and remember what one has read. And well, if a question comes not in the right order, one would still know what your question and what the answer is. Right?
Yeah, some of the questions are a little abstruse. That's why I'm saying, you know, if you're looking for the answer, it's going to be before this and after that. So yeah, but yeah, you have a look, Kai, and see what you think. I mean,
thank you very much for all your work. It's extremely valuable.
Well,
you tell that frequently, but I hope you know it.
Well, thank you for saying it, because an awful lot of work went into those quizzes and questionnaires. So it's really nice when people do use them. And it was a red letter moment when I did the last one, I can tell you. Yes. Hannes.
I just want to say what I'm planning to do with it. Maybe that's helpful. Or so I download the document, and I write my answer in a different color to every question. So I did it just from my memory, because I read the book, and so I was now doing chapter 4, which is lots of science, of all this awareness science, which is very interesting and very dense. So it took me much longer than I expected. So I did all the work, and I do lots of stuff with my pupils, so I might be able to answer all the questions, which might be happen to chapter 7. I will see. So, but this is what I do. So I download it and I save it in an order, and if I'm going through it, I will send everything to you one day. And yeah, also being happy to have a deadline, or because the deadline is different, it's difficult because it might take you longer, or it might be much quicker than I expect. So I think we need flexible deadlines. So
well, I'm always happy with flexible deadlines.
So, but I can say I want to do another 2 chapters until next month. And so just talk about it, what happened. So what happened to me with chapter 4 was I was rereading it. And so there was one time I was rereading and answer a question, and it took me half an hour just for one question. So this can happen.
Yes.
But it was a good investment.
And that's a process, isn't it? And that's why I'm not saying chapter a week. You know, a month is an entirely, or 6 weeks. I mean, you know, it does. But I'm also mindful of when that, you know, you don't want this process to take 5 years. And it doesn't matter if it does take 5 years, but you know, it starts getting boring after a while, possibly. So you want to keep enough of a momentum in it. It's just my thought. I mean, I could be wrong.
It has to be so. And if there are some questions they want a very specific answer.
Yes.
And maybe it's good to find it in the text one more time. So what is needed is rereading the text, and what is clear after rereading the text is clear, and what is then stuck in a way, just jump over. I think this is a good way to handle it.
Yes, yes. The reason I don't want to go marking things, which is that, as Hannes and Kazuyuki will know, when we did the training to teach online, and before that the online teacher training, the questionnaires were ones that I then marked, and it just took too much of my time. So I don't think I need to be doing it. It was very interesting. It was really interesting reading them, but you know, I'm trying to write another book. I think this self-assessment process is fine, but that's why I then have the thought we'll just do an hour's assessment together, and Suzanne and I had fun doing them, and I'm not out to trip you up.
How you did it with Suzanne?
Well, we got together online for an hour, and I allocate 20 minutes because most of them are, I mean, the first one is chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4, chapter 5 is part 1, chapter 6. So one had to sort of say, okay, so that's 12 minutes 12 minutes a chapter, and then just I ask a couple of theoretical questions, and if there's practical work in a chapter, I ask her to demonstrate something, and I ask her to talk me through a procedure, and maybe ask if somebody did something like that in a lesson, how might you use the material to help that. So just to get an overall sense that you've got a grasp of the main material, the main drive of the chapter. And I might ask you to tell me one of the myofascial lines, because I think it's important to know the anatomy, at least, whether one knows the muscles, just to be able to sort of draw it on the body, but to actually know the lines, because that's the other part of it, isn't it? Is the anatomy challenges. But again, something like the nasal sinuses, there's no need to learn them, but I think learning the main myofascial lines, the main muscles, is actually very useful. But I think so. I mean, but if you don't think that's useful for you, again, I respect that. So because ultimately this is your process.
I think that might be fine to have that at the end, to have this personal contact.
Yes.
So what I got from it and how it helped me with my work, and there is so much which is just fine, and so
yeah. So the idea is to do an hour assessment at the end of part 1, halfway through part 2, end of part 2, and end of part 3. So it's there's 4 assessments. Yeah.
Okay. But it feels right to do it and to send it to you, even if you're not reading it, but maybe you have a look of, oh yeah, he did it, fine, funny.
Absolutely, you can send it. I'm not promising to read it cover to cover, but yes,
no,
it could be
definitely not.
But if you want to send it, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay, so we promised to send it, and you promised to not read it.
That's the one. That's the one. Yes. Yes. But it's symbolic, isn't it? Sending it. That's maybe I do it like the PhD test. They say one of the ways people go past their PhD is they simply put it on the scales. If it's heavy enough, they pass it. It's probably apocryphal, but it's.
So what I think what we can get from a meeting like this is, if I lose the continuity of working on it, it's helping me to pick it up again. This is what I want from it.
Hannes,
it will happen. Help. So I will do 3 or 4 chapters, and then I will drop it, and I am just. Yeah.
And just to say the obvious, I mean, Hannes is going to be able to do it at a faster pace than, say, Kai or Larry, because he's already done TTO and advanced TTO. He's been working at this for another year than, or year and a half or whatever it was before the book study club started. So, if he's talking about doing 4 chapters at a time, don't feel you have to go at the same pressure, the same rate, because he will have more back knowledge of it. So it sounds like people need to set their own deadline and then be a little bit kind to themselves. And you might like to, give a pledge at the meeting here. If you want, I'm going to do chapter 2 this month, or chapter 2 and 3 this month, or whatever. And then if it happens, it happens. But you set yourself and I mean, the other thing is to work with buddies, because you said, Larry, you will work with David on this. And so again, that's that's the other way, isn't it? Is to agree something between you, which is probably better.
Might be maybe a thing if we do it. So I will do it with Sheila. So, and having the meeting with you as a group of 3, so we can do it together and share what we experienced in our.
Sorry, who's the you? Because I know you're working with Sheila.
Sheila.
Yes, yes. So you're working with the 2 of you. Yes.
Yeah.
So what did you mean by the group of 3?
Like in the end, to meet
Oh.
with you for talking through it. Maybe we can do it so
As a
small group.
As a group. Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
Maybe just a thought.
Just a thought. Yes. Yeah. So so you've got a partner. Kai, have you still got a partner on this?
Well, I'm meeting with Ben twice a week, and I could perhaps convince him of talking through certain chapters again. And we are talking about the trying to do something with Miss Goldie Club thing as well. And so it's, yeah, I mean, we had quite a number of meetings working through the book, as I wrote you. So it's I don't want to force him into anything, but I think I will be able to work through this book, repeating what we have done and taking some notes and answering some questions. So
Yeah. Yeah, and if you haven't gone into the Thinkific site before, then you've got a lot of excitement to come.
Yes, great.
Yes.
Looking forward to it.
All new, yes. Kazuyuki, you're already on my website. Do you want to do any of this in any way? You're just curious what's happening.
Now I don't have a partner, so in the future I will try, but now I just read and use the material in my teaching and translate your books into Japanese. So joining in meeting helps me a lot.
Yes, because you were meeting with Atsuko and Tomoko.
No. You coupled me with Atsuko.
Yes.
But Atsuko, it is true that she read the chapter, but she didn't understand the contents. So first meeting, she didn't understand anything. So I stopped.
Yes, she's a lot. I mean, you are a lot. You would be a lot further on. Atsuko's just starting on it all, and you've done so much at this point.
But because before I learned a lot from exchange awards, so it is a pity.
Well, I mean, there are, as I say, there are 8 people who are 9 if you're involved and 10 if David's involved. So the other thing I was going to suggest was that perhaps I send out a group email to everybody with actually your names on there for once and say if people want to pair up in this process, they could do that. And, you know, see who, because Leslie's not here, Valentin's not here. Joy is in Korea. I don't know whether her English would be good enough to pair with anyone. Joy, it's pretty, you're so geographically close, Kazuyuki, but I guess Korean and Japanese are totally different languages. Yeah. So Yeah, so I can do that anyway, though. Put in an email and see if you think, do you think that's a good idea? To put out an email and say, you know, who'd like to pair with who? Larry.
Is there anyone else in the US on that list?
Right. So what have we got? Kazuyuki, Japan, Joy, Korea. Julia Norstrand is actually, she's in the US and she's on the West Coast.
Alright.
Where are you? You're East Coast.
Yeah, 3 hours.
3 hours.
It's
So
doable.
she's actually in the newest group and she's keen as mustard. And she actually wants to come in on this straight away. So which she picked up on because she joined the Goldie Club briefly and then discovered it was too much. So you could try pairing up with her.
Yeah, if David's not, or I could do it on my own. That's fine too. I can
Yes,
do this.
but you know, I mean, I can put you in touch with her and you can see whether it works. But certainly, I know she's already got a partner for the group 5 anyway, because she's in the 5th group. So, though it may be that she's happy to work on her own. So who else is that? There's yeah, Leslie's in the UK and Valentin is in Spain. So, I mean, those two could, I'm not sure they're not working together anyway. Is Valentin paired with Leslie?
Yeah.
Yes, they are. So they're a pair anyway. Yeah. So yeah, let's hope David wants to do it with you, Larry. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So yes, no point sending an email around on partners because it's if Leslie and Valentin are already paired up, and Kai, see how you go with Ben.
Yes. On the other hand, I mean,
but Kai and Larry, I mean, you could get together. I mean, that's the other thing.
Kai? Did you say? I missed the first name.
Yeah, Kai, yes, because
What about 6
Ben-
hours?
Ben doesn't necessarily want to do this. Yes, it'll be 6 hours, won't it? Because Kai's in Germany.
yes,
Um,
yes. What is your preferred time, Larry?
I can be fairly flexible if the meetings aren't frequent. I mean, I do like you.
I'll give you each other's emails,
Good, yes.
and you can see if that works, because it takes the pressure off your partners if they don't want to join in. Yeah. Okay. So how's that sitting so far? Larry's going to give himself a deadline that's flexible. Kai, Johannes is fast tracking it, which is fine. Kai, how are you doing with the revision of it? I mean, do you think a chapter a month feels about right, or you don't know till you try?
I don't know yet. I don't know yet. I will start from the first page and see how it works. And once I get started, I perhaps might keep it up. But I promise, Larry, I won't speed you up too much.
I
Just
mean,
a
the other thing
tiny little bit. Or you have to speed up me.
you might have noticed that the copy, of course, will have, you know, because if you had been in the Thinkific site and ticking things off as completed, the copy has actually taken that back to 0. There's no drip feed on it, so you get the whole thing in one go, but anything that you've previously marked as complete is now gone. So you've actually got a blank slate to go through and do your mark things as complete all over again. So that, I think, is not a bad thing, I suspect. So
Sorry, I didn't quite understand that. So if in the copy I say this is completely I can't completed, I can't go back. Is that?
oh, yeah, so you can always go back to it, but you can mark things. You can mark things as complete for yourself when you've done it. So you can look at a chapter and go, oh yeah, load of ticks, and it's just good feel good factor. But you can mark off when you feel something's done. You can mark it off by ticking the box.
Oh, I see. Yes, now I see.
Yeah, I haven't set it up so that you have to complete something to move on. I didn't do that. Some course directors do, but I didn't feel that was fair. And then you've got complete flexibility to go forwards and back with it. Okay, any more questions? Any more thoughts on what would be useful?
So do we chat after the next Goldie for a couple of minutes again?
Absolutely.
But just for how it went, did I change my goal in any way or whatever?
Yeah, and maybe some sharing about how it works, doing it with partners, if people have some good ideas or some good thing that happened. Yeah, so any feedback on what eases your process, on what you've used, I think will help everybody. Larry.
And the Goldie Club is simply, we just count 4 weeks from today.
Yes.
Right? So they're
yes.
always going to be for pretty much, unless there's a holiday or something.
Yes, I had
So
a
it's
look.
May
at
12th would
May
be the
12th.
next one.
That's right, May 12th
Got
and
it.
then June 9th.
Cool.
And July 7th, and then we'll probably miss August.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, right. Well, have fun, everybody.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Advising away. Okie doke.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.